This is John Campbell from Lamb of God. Well, Burn the Priest wasn't the first band that I was in, but that was the original version of Lamb of God, and we were actually a four-piece with no singer. It was Chris, myself, Mark Morton, and a guy named Matt Connor. And we were an instrumental metal band. And after a time, Mark moved to Chicago to go to school. Matt Connor went on to work on other bands, and Chris and I, we wanted to keep doing this. So we got this guy Abe Spear in, and we were a three-piece instrumental. And then Abe had been in a band with Randy before that had broken up, and we were like, yeah, we really need a singer. So Randy came into the fold, and then Mark ended up moving back to Richmond, and we're like, yeah, you're back in the band, man. And so then we filled it out as it is now, and then a few years later, Abe went on to do other things, and Willie stepped in, and that was the beginning of 1999, and we've been the same lineup since then. No, that actually happened after we changed the name. We changed our name originally because people thought that we were a satanic metal band and kind of just wrote us off and wouldn't take us seriously. So we, as a group, decided that the best thing to do was to change the name. And then years later, actually it was 2004, when we were on tour with Slipknot, we were supposed to play the Forum in Los Angeles, which is owned by a church group. And they somehow found out we used to be called Burn the Priest and decided that that was not the type of band they wanted to play at their venue. While Slipknot still plays, and all kinds of metal bands play there, but for some reason they picked up on us as the bad guys, which actually has done a lot of good for us, because not only can we answer these questions in interviews years later, when we were originally banned, it was picked up by AP News Service, and kind of a little blurb went across the news feed, and a lot more people have heard about our band because of them banning us. So the lesson here is, if you don't want to bring someone attention, don't ban them. We're not all born and raised in Richmond, but we all moved to Richmond. Most of us moved there in 1990. Chris, Mark, and I were all on the same floor of the dormitories in college. Randy had moved there the year before, and Willie many years later. But I've lived in Richmond for more than any other city in my life. We spend a lot of time living with each other on the road, and when we go home, we're not necessarily looking forward to catching up with each other. We have lots of friends and family that we haven't seen in many, many years. So occasionally we'll show up at the same parties, but no, generally we get all our hanging out done on the road. You know, there's something to hate about all of us, and I'm not going to go down the laundry list, but you know, suffice to say that there is just as much to hate about me as there is about everyone else. Since we've been successful, I think our success happened later in life, to where we were already grounded, and you know, we were already adults. So it didn't change a lot. We were able to stop working when we got off tour. As far as musical spirit, it probably added quite a bit of excitement, because our goal has always been to write the most brutal, heavy music and then go perform that for as many people as possible. And our success has enabled us to go play huge crowds. I think the largest crowd we played to is 70,000 people at Download Festival. It's pretty impressive, and that's definitely enough to get your musical spirit charged up. Like we push. We're very hardworking, and this is our passion, and we worked very hard at it, and then it became our jobs. So we're very lucky in that. We have continued with you know, the diligence and the hard work, because I mean, that's really all we know how to do, is work hard, and that's just who we are as people. That's a great question. I think, and I'm grasping at straws here because I've never been asked to define it like that. We have there's a blues influence in our music, especially from Mark Morton, which is very American. And that, I think, is probably an aspect of our music that's very, very American. I think we put the formula together when the five of us got into a room originally and like, let's make music. And we've essentially been doing the same thing. We've just gotten better at doing it. because of the time spent doing it, and we've been lucky enough to make this our careers. So we have a lot of time to spend doing this, and again, this is our passion, and we work really hard at what we do. And, it's not a conscious effort to say, well, we need to use Mixolydian in this song because that's really metal. It's just, you know, let's make music, and what happens, what we make together, whatever comes up, that is what we are. Well, I think we were very influenced by classic heavy metal early on, and still. You know, early Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, these bands, but also from Richmond, this town that we're from, very small town, but an incredible music scene of people that would play in Richmond and never leave Richmond, but still were amazing musicians making incredible music. There's a band called Breadwinner that's from the late 80s, early 90s that had a brand of metal called math metal that was very, very influential on us early on, which maybe combining those classic metals and bands like Breadwinner and another band, Slang Louse, developed into this original sound that we had branded. But there was never a conscious decision of like, we're going to use this key and these scales. It was just, we are who we are, and this is how we know how to make music. None whatsoever. I have no explanation of this for the success. The biggest difference was this record was the writing process started before we ended touring. Normally we would tour and then write, but on the Wrath tour cycle, Mark kind of would hole up in his hotel room or in the back of the bus with a laptop and started tracking, demoing song ideas that he had. And then when we got home, Willie did the same. And when we all came together to start putting this record together, we came together and Mark and Willie had all this music they had made. And it's like, hey, let's work with this stuff. That's probably the biggest difference in how Resolution came together. You know, if you listen to all our records through the years, I think you can see that each one builds upon the one previous. And this one is no different. I think that we have learned a lot about writing and recording music, and I really feel like we nailed it really well on this record. I don't really pay that much attention to critical response, although I will read just to see what's being said, but I don't spend hours looking at it. But just today I was speaking with my wife over the internet, and the Rolling Stone interview came out in the States, and Rolling Stone has never liked us, which, you know, I guess is kind of a badge of honor at this point. I really feel like Resolution is everyone was firing on all cylinders. I think especially Randy on this record is amazing, which probably has a lot to do with his newfound sobriety. But I think, yeah, I think I'm starting to ramble and lose the point of the question. Heavy fucking metal. That's the message of Resolution. It's you know, we crafted a slab of music that we feel flows really well, and really feel like it's the pinnacle of what we do. For me personally, it gets more and more difficult. I now have 2 children, so time spent away from home is not only difficult on me, but it's very difficult on my wife, because as you can imagine, children are a lot to keep up with. But this is my job now, and I'm lucky enough to be able to travel the world and play shows. And the routine is all the same, that it's all worth the moment that we're on stage. When everything's hitting, it's amazing. It's a great feeling. That's a hard one, and there have been tons of amazing moments for this band. I was talking about playing Download earlier to 70,000 people. That's pretty amazing. We were lucky enough to tour with Metallica on the last tour cycle. That's something we never thought would happen, but we are very happy to have had happen. And yeah, there's all kinds of small moments like that, like traveling the earth. We got to go to India, we got to go to Athens. We've been able to see a lot of stuff that we never thought we would ever be able to see, being 5 beer-drinking morons from Richmond, Virginia. I think I've given up on fantasizing about what lies in the future, just because since we've begun, it's been a slow build, and everything's been like, holy shit, we're on a bus. We get to, you know, or holy shit, we're playing with Slayer, or, you know, it's been stuff that we never would have even fantasized has happened. So, you know, at this point, you know, sit back, ride the wave, and this is going in amazing places. It would be hard to pick my favorite Lamb of God song, because there's songs that I like because I like how they sound sonically, and there's songs that I like because they're really fun to play. And generally the newer songs are my favorite because we haven't played them hundreds and hundreds of times. Right now, probably the Undertow or the number 6 are at the top of my list. Let's go like this. There we go. With a straight edge, no less. Woot, there it is. This is the success of the band, and my pleasure would probably be, you know, fairly flat, but you know, I love what we do. I'm really lucky to be able to do what we do. Well, difficulty-wise, it would probably just be again a straight one. Let's get back. Let's do red. Difficult will be red, and it'll be there. Yeah, our record resolution just came out, and we have a 2-year plan laid out in front of us that's going to take us around the world multiple times. And it's a really exciting place to be, having a record that we feel so strongly about, and we are able to travel all over the place and have rabid fans screaming our lyrics back at us. That's a pretty amazing thing. I think we will be very old in 10 years. Who knows, man? Because honestly, you know, we never looked that far ahead. We were all pushing 40. Randy's actually already in 40. So, you know, in 10 years, who knows, man? We met CHTHONIC back in 2007, I believe, when they were on Ozfest, as were we for our second time. And they're really cool kids. Randy really took a shine to them. And he was recently, they brought him to Taiwan to perform live for a DVD. And we played a show with them when we were in Taipei about a week ago or so. They're awesome kids, great musicians, and I look forward to spending a little more time with them. Like maybe tonight we'll go out and have some drinks or something, who knows. Tour stories. Oh God, only the bad ones are coming to mind right now. They will never be on film. I don't have any great stories to share with you, but I can suggest anyone getting into a band and going on tour, and you will collect many, many stories. Japan is, as far as Asia goes, is awesome. It's great. It's like here in Tokyo, we're staying in Shibuya. Are we in Shibuya right now? Yeah. Okay, this place is amazing. This is like New York City times 10, and it's a little overwhelming at times because there's not a lot of English, and I don't speak any Japanese, so it can be overwhelming. But it's ridiculously fun just to walk around and get the pulse of the city and just watch people and just see how the city moves. It's amazing. I really love it here in Japan. It used to be more true that they would be very quiet in between songs out of politeness, but I think that maybe the little craziness of heavy metal has crept in, and it's been a while since we played Japan. We'll see if this holds true, but I think they're going to be a little crazier than they have been in the past. But there is a commonality among metalheads the world over that goes beyond the long hair and black clothes that Japan shares with kids in Germany, same with the kids in the States or kids in South America. They are very, very passionate about their heavy metal. They're not doing it because it's cool, they're not doing it because it's trendy. They're doing it because it's a lifestyle, something they feel very strongly about. And that's true in Japan as it is all over the world. 俺のアルバムを買ってこい